Hello, so today we're going to be going over a Six Chrono game. So I apologize for the lower quality. I'm just looking at the VOD through my stream. I actually have a bit of a cold today, so I might be a little bit quieter. I put the music down to make sure that I'm still audible. So you might have to like boost the volume just a little bit. I apologize for that. It's just I'm coming down with a pretty severe cold. But we're still going to do our VOD review. Today's game is going to be a chrono game. So in this game, I'm basically going to play towards vertical chrono. I've already done a video on this. I'm running out of new stuff to try out. Every time I try out something new, I just lose all my LP. So it's a little bit difficult. I can't really, like, in good faith, show you guys lines that I'm not particularly comfortable with myself, or that I don't necessarily get, like, the strongest of top fours with. Because I don't want to mislead anybody into thinking anything stronger than it really is. This 6 chrono line is something that maybe is sometimes overlooked. Having a chrono +1 and playing towards 6 chrono, it is by far one of the most game-winning lines. Out of most of the lines, it's very, very high roll. It's extremely strong. It averages like close to a 3, and it's very, 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 very well. Performs very, very well. So if we look at the first opening augment, so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to take Fairy Crest. Fairy Crest isn't that useful. Fairy Crest is usually good if you can high roll yourself into a Fairy +2, but 7 Fairy isn't really useful, and then it doesn't really make that much of a difference with 5 Fairy. Worth the wait's not that great. Slamming's good if I wanted to just take a generic Econ augment so I can play towards a 4 cost. Because Econ's really important in this patch in particular, because a lot of times you're going to be playing one of several contested 4 cost lines that are very, very strong right now. But I hit Wandering Trainers. I decide, you know what? Let's just take it. Let's just risk it a little bit, and let's play towards whatever we hit on our Wandering Trainer. In this case, I have Bastion and Chrono. Now, Vertical Bastion, 8 Bastion, it doesn't really do anything. I wouldn't really worry about trying to play around 8 Bastion. Bastion does help in some lines. For example, it makes it easier to fit in like an Arcana Rise board at a lower level. It works really well with some other lines where you might want to play multiple Bastions like Frost and Pyro, for example, where you can just fit in a much more juicier front line for free. But if we're talking about what we're going to angle ourselves towards off of this dummy, it's definitely towards 6 chrono. So 6 chrono is very, very strong. I'll do a little bit of a, let me see if I can go here. I'll just put in 6 chrono. So this is just looking up the stats just to show you. So I can tab out. You'll see the average is like sub of 4. And then if you put 6 chrono with like a Karma 2, for example, you'll see that averages really, really well. It's almost like a guaranteed top 4. You have a really high percentage top 4 rate and a really good win percentage. 6 chrono, I don't know what they did that was so incredible to like buff it so much, but before it used to be kind of useless. Now it gives so many stats. It gives so much in terms of like the not only the stun, but also in terms of the actual AP that it gives. It gives a bunch of AP. It gives the healing. It gives the stun. So especially if you can make it to these units. But the main thing is that you need to find a Camille. Right, if you actually find the Camille, you'll see that you'll actually average really well. And if you have a Camille too, then you're in like these game-winning territories. The Camille is like the main problem part, and a lot of times when you're building your board, you might not find a Camille right away, and you can't really like play towards the Camille. A lot of times you're gonna have to stabilize in an early game board. Karma's really flexible. A lot of times you're gonna try and just angle yourselves towards Karma and Preservers. Right, you have the Karma, Zillion Synergy, and then a lot of times you're just playing a normal Karma Preserver board, except you're going to be able to play an extra Chrono unit. So a lot of times you'll just keep a Jax or a Vex. So I'll just put Vex here for sake of example. And there's lots of flexible boards you can play around this. Of course, if you're playing Vex, you can easily play towards 3 Mage if you find a Nora or a Nami, and you can play like a dual backline carry until you find the Camille. I don't necessarily recommend this all the time. I feel like these mages are a little bit slow to do damage and usually die before they get their multiple casts off. Nami's really good if she has a lot of time because the stuns come in really clutch. But if you're facing more explosive boards, like Blasters, for example, I don't think she does that much. You also don't need to play Vex in particular. You can also play a Jax and then fit in some multi-strikers, which also works really well. But basically, until you find a Camille, a lot of times you'll just be playing the normal Preserver boards, which is just the Gwen Fiora with Preservers, just because of the multiple synergy. And then a lot of times you'll just play an extra Incanter, and your board will look something like this, where you'll have like a front line that does a lot of damage and a back line that is pretty well rounded. In some cases, if you find a Morgana early and not a Camille early, then you could drop one of the other preservers to have a better front line as such. But as soon as you hit the Camille, you're basically just gonna pivot onto a Camille line. A lot of times, the line that I would normally recommend is something along this. Usually you're going to be level 9 if you're finding the Camille anyways, and then you just play an extra Hecarim to make the Camille do some extra damage. In this case, I have a Bastion emblem on my Trainer Sentinel. Like if we go here on the VOD, you'll see that I have a Bastion emblem on my Trainer Sentinel. So it actually works really well to put in Hecarim. Hecarim's just a decent enough frontline unit that has a lot of synergies, so you can either play Hecarim and drop a Preserver and play Bastion for your whole team, but a lot of times you'll just play the Hecarim to get the extra multi-striker, because Camille and Jack share multi-striker, and it'll just help out everybody. It also opens you up to playing Arcana lines in some cases. If you want to drop some of the preservers, you can sometimes just play towards like capping out your board really high around Arcana instead. And like I said, you'll always have to just play the Vex to get the 5 chronos, so you know your level 9 board might look something like this if you hit an early Xerath and you have a lot of Xerath in. Don't get baited too much by Encanter, because with 6 chrono, if I hover it, they're going to gain a lot of AP. They gain the 15 AP, but then also with 6 chrono, they gain 70 AP as well as 35 attack speed. So they're going to gain so much AP that a lot of times it feels a little bit useless to have the Encanter in. Yes, if you have 3-item Karma and that's your main carry and the only units that's doing damage on your board, Encanter is going to help that, but just don't get too baited by like needing to play a Cassiopeia or needing to play a Syndra just for the Encanter trait, because a lot of times if you cap yourself around Xerath and having like multiple Arcana units in, you might be able to cap your board higher anyways and just get compensation for what you would have in the Encanter trait. So now we can go back to this game. I'm starting the game off with like a Mordekaiser 2. I have this little bit of an Eldritch start. It's really awkward. I really want a Syndra. That's what I really want this game. If I get a Syndra, I already made blue buff. I have good items for Karma. Even though I'm win streaking, it seems relatively uncontested. I think many people are going to pivot into Karma. Right now in the current patch, a lot of times it just ends up being that multiple people are either playing Karma, Callista, or Varus. And just by the nature of the patch, just Varus and Callista being as strong as they are makes it so that you're often just playing around 4 costs, because multiple people are going to be contesting one of those 2 boards, so then it's going to be easier for you to hit the other boards. It is Scuttle Puddle, by the way. Actually, it's not Scuttle Puddle, it's Crabrave, my mistake. So it is Crabrave. So with Crabrave, we do expect to have a lot of gold. That makes a lot of these Karma boards really viable, which is why many people are probably playing in the lobby. These Karma boards are typically very expensive. I'll just drop out of some of these units for now. But typically if you're playing around Preservers and Karma, you're playing like Gwen Fiora a lot of the time, and you're playing like Warriors, sometimes 4 Warriors, sometimes a Briar, right? Like a typical board that you might imagine is something along the lines of this, right? As like a level 8 Karma board. This is quite common. And then, sorry, one extra preserver. This is a quite common Karma board. This board is very strong, but it does require you to 2-star many of your carries, Gwen and Fiora in particular. When you have melee units like this, that are warriors like Gwen and Fiora, they're going to be taking a lot of damage because they're in the front line. Especially against like a Callista or a Varus player, where there's like a little bit of an explosive damage, especially with Varus. Not having Gwen 2-star, not having Fiora 2-star is pretty much like a guaranteed going 8th with this board. This board is very high roll, and that you need a lot of gold in order to play towards it, because basically if you don't upgrade these units, like Karma, you can maybe get by with a Karma 1, but if you have Fiora 1, Gwen 1, Briar 1 for too long, a lot of times they just end up dying, especially if somebody already hits a Varus 2. So it's very difficult to play around, so you just have to be very careful. Because it's Scuttle Puddle, you're going to have more gold, so lines like this become more viable for the entire lobby, right? The way you should always look at it is, if a board is more expensive and then the lobby is giving you a bunch of gold, it makes that line a little bit less risky to play towards, because you're going to guarantee to have a bunch of gold to roll down that will help you to hit the units that you need to hit. We roll into Prismatic here. I don't really want to pivot towards Eldritch. Eldritch seems like bait. It would have been really good here if I knew for sure that I had a Syndra already that was scaling, but I don't, so it's not that great. Lucky Gloves also isn't that good, because I don't really have a reason to itemize anybody else with the Lucky Gloves. It might end up just being Radiant Refractor. Pandora's isn't that great, but I hit Support Golem. I'm down for support golem. I think the support golem also gets chrono healed in some cases, which is pretty nice. The support golem I got gives me a ZZ Rot, so it gives me this little extra unit that I can place, and it gives me the treasure chest. The treasure chest is really good here because I'm down to give everybody items, just itemize more people. It also helps me to win streak. And the ZZ Rod also works well because Chrono heals your whole team. So the ZZ Rod actually has a little bit more sustain than normal because he will get healed by preservers as well as the Chrono cast. If I hit 6 Chrono, he'll get like 100% healed, which is really nice. So I can give him a second lease at life, which makes basically I have like so much frontline now. So I can. That's usually pretty helpful because the more frontline you have, the more time you have for your backlines to carry. A lot of times in TFT, a very stable frontline is the key to stability and success a lot of the time. Or having an upgraded carry doesn't mean anything because if your frontline just dies instantly, then you're just fucked, right? That's typically what happens. Anyways, I want to keep playing this Eldritch line. I basically got this Eldritch opener. I'm playing around this Mordekaiser 2. This Mordekaiser 2 is very strong. Just because he's like super tanky, has a lot of stats, and also could be itemized, does a lot of damage. So I just want to play towards it as long as I can manage to play around him. And and because I have the Mordekaiser, I'm just playing the Eldritch with the Chrono. The Eldritch guy I think gets healed by the Chrono as well. I might be wrong about that fact. But it just allows me to preserve as much HP as possible. As you can see, I'm not quite win streaking. I think I got my streak snapped right in the middle, so I don't have like a 5 streak, but I am very, very healthy. Being healthy is really important because if I end up being contested, for example, if you look at this guy's items, he has a tier and he's like kind of angling in a way towards like this guy looks like he's very clearly going to play like a Karma Fiora setup. He has really good Fiora or Briar items, and then he's holding on to tier, so it looks like he's probably going to play like backline Karma, frontline melee unit, which is really scary. I think in this lobby it works out that like multiple people end up playing towards Karma, which is obviously very, very scary for someone like me who I have the Chrono emblem. If I want to make use of this Wandering Trainer, there's very few lines I can really use with the Chrono and the Bastion. Obviously, I could just play towards anything and just get like a 2 Chrono, 2 Bastion for free, but then it makes my gold augment kind of worthless. A lot of times when you take Wandering Trainer, you want to hit one of the emblems that you have in a vertical situation so that it gives you a strong amount, a good amount of compensation for what it is as a gold augment. I take Cloak here. I just want some sort of frontline item. As you can see, I didn't make the best items for Karma, obviously, but I made really good items. I started with blue buff. Then in addition to blue buff, I also have Shiv. Shiv is really great because Karma hits many different units in the back line. So being able to reduce their magic resist will help my Karma do more damage. And then I have Morello. Morello is very, very good on Karma because of the same reason. She hits multiple units, and then the burning and wounding will apply its effect on majority of the board. And then they'll like progressively, lose percentage of their health, and it will help them out. I still have a bow and really good items. It's a very high item game, but that usually happens with Crabrave or Scuttlepuddle. A lot of times with Crabrave and Scuttlepuddle, it's usually like a high roller's fantasy. The better your items and your drops are at the beginning, the more you can convert to a really strong position. I high roll really hard because I got this Mordekaiser 2, and if you look at my front line, it's absolutely disgusting. I have a target dummy, I have a golem, I have a ZZ Rot, I have an upgraded Mordekaiser. It doesn't matter that I have a 1-star Syndra that's not scaling as my backline carry because nobody's gonna be able to chew through all of my front line at any point in these early rounds at least. So it actually works out really, really well for me here. And then of course once we finish everything, or once we finish this stage, we're probably going to gear up for a level 8 roll down. Of course, there's multiple people that are very rich. As you can see, there's more than one person that's level 7 with 50 gold. So you just have to understand that when it's Scuttlepuddle and Crabrave, whatever the criteria you have for winning the game is, it always has to be a little bit higher. The people that have really good boards are going to high roll harder, going to hit harder, because you're going to have the resources to convert that position. I'm high rolling very hard this game. The reason is because I have so much frontline. It's just early game stability is so much tied to how well your front line is. As you can see, this guy can't even chew through. He has a Syndra 2. I have a Syndra 1. Of course, I have 3 items. He has Giant and Mighty and whatever. It's just so impossible for him to get through all of my front line that I have, because I even was able to put in Bastion by playing the Poppy after this. But like I said, as much as it's been high roll up until now, I've been streaking, I'm very high HP. It's going to come down to, on my roll down here, do I hit a Karma? Can I itemize and switch my board into a proper board? You don't want to roll too deep. The best case scenario for me is that I hit 1 copy of Karma and then I can start going towards level 9 or working my way towards level 9. Because my board really caps high on the Camille, you want to make it to level 9 so you can have better odds of finding the Camille and have a better spot for the Camille. It's not necessarily the greatest thing to this is just rough also. Look at these items. I got 3 bows. Like, I already used a bow for Shiv, and I already have red buff I already have Morello, so I don't have the reason for red buff. Now, Zillion will do a shocking amount of work here because of Chrono. So with 6 Chrono, the Zillion actually is good to itemize. So I'm probably going to itemize Zillion. I'll eventually transfer tank items onto Vex, and then I'll play towards the rest of my board. I'm 4-1ing it because I'm quite contested. A lot of times there's no need to 4-1 send it to 0, because, you know, who cares? Of my items, because I got so many bows, I don't really have Fiora items. I have a Fiora pair on bench. Like I said, I was going to try and play like a Karma Preserver line and fix things up a little bit, but there's no need for me to play these Fioras. I'm probably going to sell them just for econ here, because I didn't hit my Karma yet, and I'm a little bit stressed about that. Like I said, I need 1 copy of Karma. I already have to roll pretty deep on 4-1, which is a little bit awkward. If I win this fight, I can just sell these and make 20. I guess I don't make it right now. I hold on to them just in case. I don't really have Fiora items. That's the problem. If I had like a Bloodthirster and a Sterex dropped here, I would 100% just play the Fiora and try and upgrade the Fiora to stabilize around it. But I don't have that opportunity. Here I hit Spellblades. Spellblades I think is pretty good with Chrono. We'll double check right here. 6 Chrono augments. I think it was good last time I checked, because I did this last time I played it. Yeah, it's minus delta. It's pretty good. So Spellblades is what I went with. I found my 1 Karma, so now I basically swap in Karma. I can remove the items. I don't know why I sold the Cassio. I think it's just because I didn't have Cassio items. I could have made Cassio items here because I have a Guinsoo potentially, so I could have played Cassio instead of this Syndra. But I think my logic was that the Syndra scaled a little bit, so maybe she does a little bit more work. But as you can see here, I'm 5 Chrono. I could definitely drop the Vex or the Jax. Like, I can drop one of the frontline Chrono units and put somebody in to do a little bit more damage. For example, like an Arcana unit. Like this Ari can give me a little bit of a buff to my board. But either way, because I just play the 5 Chrono, and now I'm just trying to like econ up as much as possible. I think this is the point where I'll sell the Fioras. I just don't have Fiora items. I could work towards making Fiora items, but it's very expensive to hold these on bench. That's like 2 turns of econ that I could have made. Like I said, my front line's so stable that I'm not too worried about my Karma dying unless somebody has either a Varus or has like an Akali or Fiora where it can get dove really easily. So I'm going to start separating. I should probably put the Syndra towards the middle as well, just to make sure that if Fiora dashes, she dashes the opposite way. This guy's already level 9, by the way. That's like how much people are high rolling, by the way. And that guy has a Camille 2 and a Karma 2. So this guy just sent it to 0. I rolled very deep. I didn't hit. That guy hit. It is what it is. But my board is really stable because I have a good front line. As you can see, I'm playing around this 3 Eldritch still. The Eldritch Beast comes in, does a little bit of work, does a little bit of damage soaking. It's totally fine to play around it until later. You should always think about your pivots. You shouldn't just open sell your board and just like sell everything to try and like upgrade. This guy's a Camille 2, so obviously I'm going to lose to this guy. It's a very stressful game right now just because like multiple people are playing around Karma and multiple people hit their Karma boards. I'll probably scout it out soon and you should be able to see what the problem is. But either way, playing around Eldritch and having the Mordekaiser, and it's a Mordekaiser 2. There's no need to open sell or pivot my board or switch stuff and all sorts of things. It's more so like, okay, we'll reevaluate. after maybe some people die, right? I'm 83 HP. Maybe one of the people that is holding karmas that's like lower HP, like 8 HP or 13 HP if they're a karma player, that I can roll later. So this guy hit karma 2. He hit karma. This guy hit karma 2. That guy hit Camille 2. The other guy has, I think, Gwen 2. So everybody stabilized around something. My stabilization is just that I have really, really strong front line, which is good enough. So here I'm debating what I should make. I think I just make a Titans. The reason I make a Titans, not because it's a really great Mordekaiser item, is just because like eventually I'll want to put items on Camille. So I can put Titans and whatever other frontline items on the Camille. But like I said, I ideally want to be stable enough that I can go 9. I have a lot of HP because my early game went really well. So it's not like the end of the world. It just comes down to how many of these fights I lose. For example, this fight, it might be a little bit scary with this Gwen, but hopefully the Gwen takes too long to chew through my front line, and then I can maybe cheese a kill here, right? Especially with the Chrono stun. Yeah, it's going to be close because I'm going to get the anti-heal burning on the Gwen. Ah, no, she dashed right onto my backline. 2-unit loss, right? When I say stable, by the way, right, obviously I'm bleeding out, but I started with 90 HP. I'm taking very low losses, right? I'm still 70 HP, right? I've lost 2 rounds in a row. Maybe I'm going to lose 3 rounds in a row, and I'm still in the top HP, right? I'm tied for top HP, but I'm still top HP. So it's very, very important. This guy died, so that's great. The problem is I don't think I have enough gold or resources to go 9 and roll a significant amount. The other problem is that the other player also has a Camille 2, right? When we were scouting, remember we fought a guy and he has a Camille 2 already, and this guy also has a Camille. So there's not really a reason for me to go to level 9 right now. The reason is that like there's nothing for me to do on level 9 here. Also, I should probably switch Nora in for either Vex or Jax, just because the 5 Chrono isn't doing that much and I can get a little bit more value with some extra damage. The Varus just deleted my whole board. It is what it is. He's Pyro with Execute, so you know it just happens like that. He's also Eternal Growth, I think, with Nasus, which is a little bit scary. But I should definitely switch out somebody. Now I found a Tahm Kench. It's definitely switch out somebody, getting Tahm Kench. Yeah. I can probably switch off of Eldritch. I'm going to pivot my board. Basically, I'm not going to roll here on level 9. Remember, I was talking my plan is to go level 9 because I wanted to play for a first. Because everybody is really stable and has upgrades already, I pretty much have to roll on level 8 now to try and stabilize and fix my board. Because there's 2 players, one guy has 1 Camille and another guy has 3 Camilles. Even if I go level 9, I probably won't be able to find the Camille 2. So I kind of stabilize for that stage, and then to make sure that I don't go bot 4 here, I'm just going to roll as deep as possible. Now I got the charm that said all 5s, which was great, and I found a Camille. So now I am extremely stable. I could actually just stop rolling. This was extreme high roll, by the way. 6 Chrono now. I don't think I lose any fight, which is actually kind of crazy. Now you might look at me and be like, oh, well, you have Karma 1, Camille 1, and no items on Vex and a Zillion. How strong could it possibly be? You're going to see. It is very, very, very reliable to play around these this Chrono. So this is somebody, look, he has Karma 2, Nami 2, 7 Eldritch. I don't think that I'm going to lose to this fight, because just if you've ever played 6 Chrono, you'll notice like it's a huge spike in power. Like it's a very, very, like 4 Chrono to 6 Chrono, just the amount of speed as well as AP that you get with the 4-second stun, you do crazy amounts of damage. And that's only with like a Camille 1, Karma 1, right? Easily wiped. Very, very high roll that I found the Camille. Obviously, if I didn't find the Camille, I probably would have rolled straight to 0 just to find as many upgrades as possible. I would have pivoted this board to either a full Arcana board or a full Preserver board. One or the other, right? Because either Arcana is going to buff the whole board and give me a bunch of damage, or Preserver is going to buff my whole board and make it very like tanky and sustaining. That's like the idea that I have. So here now, because I'm super stable, I'm just going to go 9 just to play Arcana. It's a good interval to go 9 because it's perfect interval. I have 10 gold, so it's not the worst thing in the world. I can rebuild my econ after this turn. I just don't want to lose too many fights. Like I said, I want to guarantee a top 4 here. I don't want to necessarily lose against anybody. This guy has Gwen 2, Karma 2, and I think he has, I don't know what this is. It's a Nasus 2, I think. I can't tell. Or maybe a Mordekaiser 2. I don't think he's going to beat me. I think that the buff that I have, especially with this Camille, 6 Chrono Camille, just so much damage, right? Like the Camille does so much true damage, just absolutely deletes the whole board. It's insane. So if you haven't played around it, just always remember 6 Chrono is such a huge spike, but obviously you have to find a Camille, so the priority is always Camille. That's why I was saying before, I really want to go 9 to roll for Camille, but until, you know, I tried to tough it out on stage 4, I high rolled the Camille, obviously through charm, but if I didn't high roll the Camille, I would have rolled as deep as possible, get a full Preserver and other board, right, that works out like that. Here I'm playing Arcana. I'm Tom Kench selected. I didn't really buy that many charms. I could go for Hecarim that gives it gives damage as well as some durability. But because I have so many traits in, I have a couple, like it's not the unique ones, but I have a good amount of traits in. I'd rather just have full HP on the whole board. It kind of synergizes really well for me to try and stall out some of these enemies. This guy's just Varus 1. Varus 2 does beat this board pretty handedly. Varus caps very high. Varus is very risky because Varus 1 is pretty useless. But Varus, like 6 Blaster Varus 2, if you have like good setup with them, especially if you have Arcana in, there's very few boards that can withstand the sheer amount of damage that unit pumps out. So no matter how tanky my board is, it's like most of my board is going to be dead before Chrono even procs. And that's just like a fact. So we run into a situation that, you know, late game I probably will lose to a Varus player, especially since I didn't hit Karma 2 very early. So I'm not in like a super high roll position. Like if I have Karma 2, Camille 2, Morgana 2, Vex 2, and I have like good items on everybody, maybe I can beat him. But like until then, the chances are we're going to lose to Varus late game. And with that in mind, we should always be playing towards a second. In my opinion, of course. If you see that there's other players that look like they're going to beat you no matter what, you shouldn't super greed to go first because then you could throw away a lot of placements. The way that I usually play it is that, okay, we're buying charms here, we're rolling, we're trying to find upgrades, we're doing all of this stuff because we'd rather make sure that we secure our placements. And here we go, we're playing the Eldritch player again. Like I said, really don't think that this guy's ever going to beat me, even if he finds like a Briar 2. Of course, I'm still Karma 1, Camille 1. I spike really hard once I hit Karma 2, Camille 2. But we will see if that time ever comes. Because, you know, we're quite a bit away from it. I'm trying to rebuild my bank a little bit here, just so I have enough gold to roll on 9 for Karma Camille. But because there's so many Camilles gone, and there's so many Karmas gone, I'm kind of waiting for some of the other players to die. If I'm being real here, like this guy, for example, this guy as well, right? There's a lot of them that are low HP, and I'm 59 HP. They'll cannibalize each other, right? They're going to fight each other. They're going to kill each other off because, you know, if a 12 HP guy fights a 7 HP guy, it's like, you know, one of them's going to die. And as soon as it gets thinned out a little bit, I'm kind of down to roll very deep at that point. Here I'm just rolling for charm. That's what I was saying before. I want to make sure that I don't take any really bad losses. I ended up rolling really deep for the charm because it just worked out that there wasn't anything. There wasn't any charms. Here's something that I'm not sure about. Okay, so they do have a shield, right? I'm not mistaken. So it's 24, 23, 22. Okay, so this part confused me a little bit. But I think upon further VOD review, I think I was wrong to be... Like, I wasn't sure if this was bugged. So, if you watch this fight, my chronocast doesn't go off. Now they start with the shield, so I think that I think this guy bought the charm that makes them stun immune. And my chronocast I think popped. Like at first I thought that it popped after 8 seconds, but I think it popped right at 8 seconds, and that's why his whole board didn't get stunned. So it wasn't actually a bug. I'm very on the lookout for bugs since I've been getting hoed by them in a couple of my matches. So this was actually just very unfortunate. Because this guy has Camille too, so I really wanted to kill this guy off. But I think he just got the perfect charm. Like that's just a set 12, right? So he got the anti-stun charm. That's why my chronocast didn't freeze his board. If my chronocast froze his board, he would have died right there, and that would have been really, really big for me. Because this guy dying would have meant that I can roll a little bit more aggressively here. I'm probably gonna lose to the crab as well, by the way, because I have 1-star Camille and 1-star Karma, and 1-star like everybody. The chances are this crab is gonna beat me, so I'm gonna lose another bit of HP because of the crab rave, which sucks. But like I said, I'm just rolling. I'm biding my time. I'm trying to wait to roll because I want to build as much econ as possible to remove the variance. This player was just really unfortunate. That like if he didn't have the anti-stun charm, I'm pretty sure I beat him there. It's just because my chrono cast, like the Gwen was able to continue Gwenning and stacking when I could have like easily just stunted that with the chrono cast. And then we'll see. Vex is gonna tank as much as she can. But now I think I'm even behind a whole item. I think I didn't reach the second threshold for the crab to get the second item, because I only got one item here. And you should get 2 items. So it's actually a really bad loss to crab, because now I'm down a whole item. So remember before when I was saying we're just playing for like a second at best? We are definitely just playing for a second now. I didn't know what item to take here. I just took Archangels. I'm like, fuck it. Vex can just like do some crazy shit. And I'm rolling this turn. I can't wait for this guy to die anymore, because maybe he'll just live. So I'm just rolling for everybody. Just rolling as deep as I can. I could have waited a turn, see if he died this turn, and then roll next turn. But I just need to be as strong as possible. I'm fighting him again, by the way. So this time, I think he won't have the chrono. I think now with the chrono cast, I definitely win against him. So we'll see. This is what I was saying before, that if he doesn't have the anti-stun, I'm pretty sure we just win. Because we just like the Gwen not stacking is the main thing, right? The Gwen just doesn't get enough like one-shot potential, and now we beat him. So we rolled, like, you can argue that I rolled a turn earlier, but you know, looking at the fights, right? Like looking at the fights that are coming up here, where is it? Like, if you look at this, right? I'm fighting the same guy, right? I'm fighting this guy that has the Gwen and the Karma. Like, I can't wait to roll. I have to try and hit Karma too, because if this guy beats me, then he has a really high chance of continuing to live. And then if he continues to live, then I don't get like how do I phrase it? The guy that's contesting me, I'm up against right now. If I lose against him right here, then I am likely to he's likely to outplace me. Excuse me. He's likely to outplace me. So if I want to outplace him, I have to make my board as strong as possible for this fight in particular. I don't think I beat the Varus player, like I said before. So that's why I rolled. I hit Morgana 2. This might have been a Morgana 2 diff in this fight. So the rolling, as much as I would like to wait for him to die and then roll for the Karmas, which was my original strategy, because I lost the other fight and now I'm fighting him again, I said, you know what? We're not going to take any chances here. I'm going to roll to 0, make sure that I hit the strongest board possible, and I kill him off. Right, the other guy dies to the Varus player. Now, maybe I can hit Karma 2. I'm definitely not hitting Camille 2, because it's just too late for that and I have no gold anymore. But that was just to try and secure my second place. Now, obviously, if I had Camille 2, Karma 2, I think I can beat the Varus player. The thing is, the Varus player is very fucking strong, and has been very fucking strong. So there's a good chance that I still don't beat the Varus player. So this was to secure second place. And I just wanted to illustrate that and explain it so that it makes some sense to you. But like I said, Six Chrono is very busted. If you're watching this game, I basically went all the way to top 2 with just a Karma 1. I didn't even have Karma 2. It's just a matter of hitting Six Chrono. So a lot of times, you don't even have to prioritize hitting Karma 2. Maybe you do. Depends on your lobby. If there's more Varus players, definitely. If there's less Varus players, then you should be fine. But you really, really, really have to prioritize making it to level 9 and finding a Camille. If you or having a lot of gold on level 8 that you can find a Camille on 8. So as you can see here, we lost this fight. That's not good. We're gonna lose another fight, probably. Now I have a Camille here. So I'm trying to give myself the greatest chance of success. I can take one more loss, right? I was at 32 and I dropped to 18. So that means a 1 unit loss gives me, like, do the math, right? A 1 unit loss makes it so that I lost, what, like 14 HP? So I could take as much as a 4 unit loss and still live. So I'm chancing it. I used the buy free charm, because now if there is a Camille on Carousel, I get Camille too, and then I'm playing for like my best placement, right? That's like the idea there. I was going to roll for Karma, or Camille. I was going to send it to 0. I found Karma 2, and then I found the Camille. So we're going to try our best to try and win this game. Obviously, the other thing I can do is I can just try and sell my board and like upgrade to like a legendary. Anyways, we live with 1 HP. Very close call, but you know, that's the risk I took. Camille on Carousel. This is what I wanted. And now we just got to roll into some really good charms. If we find some really strong charms, 2 rounds of strong charms, we might be able to just cheese by and get a first, right? That's why last round was in preparation of setting up for these 2 rounds. This charm, I don't think cuts it. I already have anti-heal. I don't think this really matters. This charm is also really shit. Just really unlucky. This charm's also shit. I don't need it. This charm. Now, this is the really awkward part. It's like, damn, I wish I had 1 more life. But, you know, it's really unfortunate. Because this will win me the next round, probably, right? If I have Hecarim 2 and this guy 2 and everybody gets extra damage. The problem is I have to sell my own Xerath. There was a Xerath in shop. I would have had Xerath 2 for the next fight, which is also really important. So it just works out that buying this charm was just very expensive. And I'll probably win this fight. And then I just got to pray to God that next fight I have a really good charm. And then maybe I can get a first. That's my thought process. We play it fight by fight. So as you can see here, because all my 1-star star up, I have Xerath 2. And I just narrowly win this fight, but it's still a win. I kind of expected it's going to be a close call if I have everybody upgraded. I don't know why I fucking did that, by the way. I think I panicked. That was pretty bad. I locked the shop by accident. I think I locked it by accident. Like, I think I was, like, thinking about... I think I still thought that I had the extra Xerath, and I was upgrading a Xerath 2. And then by the time I realized I couldn't unlock it. Because that just makes it so that I had to roll once to see the charm instead of seeing the charm first. So I basically saw 1 less charm. Like I said, I don't have enough gold because I had to send it really deep. So the chances are I wouldn't be able to win this game anyways. And this is all very cheesy. It's just me trying to like cheese a victory here. Or cheese a first place. Like I said before, it was probably always going to be a second. If I was able to find another Xerath charm just by pure luck, then maybe I win. But this guy's just way too strong, right? Level 9, Diana 2, Tricksters, Blasters in. Just way too difficult to deal with. I positioned well to avoid the Diana. Yeah. And that's what I mean. If I had a little bit better of a charm, I can beat him. But I don't think I had enough gold to roll for charms, right? Anyways, even with the lock shop. It was a little bit of a fumble, but yeah, it's just a second. But like I said, this board's very, very strong, right? If you look at the boards that I was playing against, they were very high cap. So it actually worked out really, really well. But anyways, hopefully you can try out Six Chrono for yourself. If you enjoyed my video, make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.